Hello, and in today's video we are doing a buy, sell, keep, avoid video for game week number 4. That's right, the international break's nearly kicked off and it's nearly time for the Premier League to get back into our lives. But in this video I'll be going through who I think are the best assets to own, who do you want to buy, who do you want to avoid, and who do you certainly want to keep strong in your team and don't lose the faith. But ultimately, who needs to get out of that team? Who are you going to sell? What we're going to do, obviously this week has been a crazy one in terms of injuries, but also a lot of people popping their wild card. Now, because of that, I'm going to do it in two sections this video. I'm going to do a buy, sell, keep, avoid video for those people who are on a wild card right now. So basically, who are you going to keep from that wild card draft? And then I'm also going to do a section of non-wildcarders who are not wildcarding, and then their separate advice. So yeah, do go on to smash a like on the video and let's get into it. So to start off with, the wildcarders. I think the first one to say for a buy and to put into your wildcard team is got to be Cristiano Ronaldo. Now, there are some very unreliable sources, i.e. The Sun, that say that he won't play, or at least he won't be able to make his debut against Newcastle because he'll miss through quarantining and through lack of fitness because he's not really had much time. But actually, he has. He's been training at least 2 days with the Manchester United team. He was released early after getting that yellow card against Republic of Ireland. And of course, that meant he was sent off to Manchester United. Didn't have to play the Azerbaijan match. So Ronaldo, I still think will get a good few minutes in that game. Obviously, starting is still a question, but he can still do something very, very good for a captaincy contender off the bench. You know what Ronaldo is like. He is the GOAT. So I know that he's a lot, 12.5 million, but I think certainly if you have activated that wild card, I think you'd be silly to not have him in your team. A lot of people wildcarding just for Ronaldo. I think that is a little bit silly, but for those people that want to kind of negotiate their team structure and get Ronaldo in, I just think on a wild card he is a buy. Next up on the wild card, we've gone for a player in midfield who just is in great form and he's looking very confident at his new club, and that is Demarai Gray. And the reason I say this is because he keeps rising in price, he keeps looking like a really good asset, and he's got great fixtures. Everton have got Villa, and then of course they got Burnley, and after that they got Norwich. So some really nice fixtures to own, and for a wild card to set you up. Everton's fixtures certainly are looking pretty decent. Game week 7 not ideal against Man United, but for the short term at least, very good for Demarai Gray. And he's such a bargain at 5.6 million, and he could even go up. And the thing is, Everton bought him for such a bargain. I can't remember what it was, but it was something crazy like 1.8 million or something like that. And that's a great signing. I think also for FPL, he will be a great signing. Obviously, it'll be interesting to see if he can carry on his form, especially if Dominic Calvert-Lewin, who's got a bit of an injury right now, a calf injury, will he be ruled out, and how much will that affect Demarai Gray's output? Because of course we know Demarai Gray loves whipping in crosses or assists for Calvert-Lewin, but we'll find out. I just think though he's good enough to keep in that wildcard team and be a buy if you've not already got him on your wildcard. So those are my two players for the wildcard section for buy. Let's move on to keep for the wildcard. And this is always difficult because you can change your wildcard as much as you like. Once you've activated that button, you're very much playing your own game and doing what you like. But I think people will be silly to let go of this man on their wildcard, and that is Luke Shaw. Because at the end of the day, the fixtures aren't ideal, but Shaw is still in a Manchester United team defensively that will get stronger. Alright, Newcastle is a favourable clean sheet, and also the matchup against, I personally think against Villa, with Danny Ings not necessarily going to cause too much problems. Emi Buendia obviously missing game week 4, but after that, Buendia has not been that impactful anyway. So you can sell Buendia if you have him, by the way, because he misses that Chelsea match. The fiasco, the Brazil-Argentina game, is unbelievable. But back to Shaw, I think he's got a bit more attacking potential that we haven't just seen yet, but I think it will come. And obviously with Greenwood, he's been playing more centrally, but you could see get more attacking returns, especially with Ronaldo in there to win those headers and just looks like he's a decent centre back for full back, sorry, for Manchester United. So I'd keep the faith with Luke Shaw, certainly. The next keep though on the wild card. So this is another player who I think is a player who people shouldn't be too quick to move on, and that's Michail Antonio. Now, I think it is logical because the Manchester United game is a tough one for Antonio, but his form has been fantastic. I know that loads of people want to get Lukaku and Ronaldo and Harry Kane, but Antonio, just keep the faith, because when you're on form like this, I think he's got to stay in the team. So that is my other keep on the wild card. Now, the avoid on the wild card, and I hate to say it, people, but I've got to go for it. Romelu Lukaku. And the reason for that is, obviously, he's back in the Prem, and he started well against Arsenal, but I just thought he was always marked out that Liverpool game. And also, the fixtures for Chelsea aren't great. After Aston Villa, okay, fair enough, if he plays, but we know there's a bit of an injury doubt because of his involvement with Belgium, so that's a worry. But if he plays, of course, against Villa, you've got Jed Steer up against him. That's a good chance of points for a captaincy. But after that, you don't necessarily want him. All right, the fixtures are pretty tough. Chelsea play against Manchester City and they play against Tottenham. And actually, yeah, game week 7, game week 8, game week 9, you'd probably want Romelu Lukaku. But do you want him now on a wild card where you want to build for the best fixtures? And obviously, if you're wild carding later on, then this is good for you. But if you're wild carding now, you've got to look at who's got the best run of fixtures, right now, and you can transfer out Lukaku, transfer in Lukaku when he's got better fixtures. And I just think the fixtures aren't worth it for him to be on the wild card, and especially as I mentioned with Ronaldo, the wild card budget is a difficult thing to negotiate. So if you want one of the two, I'd go with Ronaldo, because number one, better fixtures, and number two, just looks like a more likely player to get some minutes. So we'll see how that develops, but I just think he's an avoid for now. But that's just my personal opinion. Let's move on to the next avoid on this wild card. This is a difficult one, but I am going for a centre-back here. And, okay, it's going to be a Manchester City centre-back, and it's Aymeric Laporte. I don't know if there's much truth to this, but people are saying that he picked up an injury for Spain. That could be a thing, and that means that John Stones could come back in. Obviously, he's not started yet. Laporte's been playing well. But regardless, they play Leicester, and City's fixtures in the next few weeks aren't the best. So do you want a City defender? Maybe not. Certainly with Wolves' run of fixtures defensively, and also I think with obviously Arsenal, but let's see them get a bit more defensive solidity first. There are some better defensive options out there, so I'd let go of I think right now you can go for better options. So Aymeric Laporte for me is apologies for that is a avoid just for now though. And then finally for the sells in the wild card, I think Fernandes has got to go, because Ronaldo's got to come in. Let's be honest. I know Fernandes is a big game player and he'll probably score against Newcastle now. Everyone's sold him, but I just think his penalties not being there will be a problem. And Ronaldo's going to be dominant in that Manchester United team. All right, he looked good for Portugal, especially in that second game against Azerbaijan. But I just don't think his FPL points is going to be massively that impressive. Obviously, if you can fit in Fernandes, Salah and Ronaldo, then the rest of your team's going to be awful. But let's just think about long-term, what team structure do you want? And I think Fernandes just can't fit in there. The other sell I've got for this wild card is Danny Ings. And this is a controversial one because he's been in great form. But it makes sense with the turn of bad fixtures for Aston Villa. Someone like Raul Jimenez, you might want on your wild card if you're thinking the fixtures will get Wolves more goals. Whereas Jimenez, needs more confidence. Ings has that right now, but the fixtures are going to be really tough. And Buendia not playing against Chelsea, you don't want Ings for that Chelsea fixture, you'd imagine. So that's what I'm going for. Now let's move on to those non-wild carders. So let's start actually off with the avoids. And here I've gone for a bit of a controversial one, Said Benrahma, because I actually do think right now he's not the best player to own. I'll tell you why. I think West Ham, Michail Antonio is a better asset right now. And also Mason Greenwood. Now, Man United, obviously, Ronaldo coming in, and Sancho's got a slight doubt after the England matches pulling out. But I think he might still play against Newcastle. But the point is, Greenwood's time in that Manchester United team is on small legs, but also he's in great form, so it's hard to drop him. Whereas with someone like Benrahma, I feel like West Ham, they're going to dry up with points in the next few weeks because apart from Antonio, those fixtures aren't ideal. Manchester United, and also Benrahma just is one of those players who I think had a nice purple patch, but there's so many midfield options right now and they have better fixtures. So that's my thinking right now. The other avoid I've gone for, if you're not on a wild card, for me, just personally, it's just my preference, but it's Aubameyang. I know, it's Norwich at home, you think that's got to be, surely, but he's just not got any form right now, he's not got confidence, and I think Arsenal needs a few weeks to build that back up, so I wouldn't go there, but of course now he can score a hat-trick. Let's go on to the buys for this game week, non-wildcarders, and I think, for me, one of the players here has to be Diogo Jota. He looks really good form right now for club and country, and now Firmino we think is out injured, so that is perfect for the attacking returns, for the chances that he can create, and playing that forward role. He's a bit out of position really, so yeah, it seems a really good shout, Diogo Jota. The other buy that I've gone for though in defence is another controversial one, but hear me out. So I'm going for a little bit of Mason Holgate, and the reason for that is it's a cheap way into that Everton defence. Okay, the fixtures could be better, but I think there's enough chance of clean sheets there, and Holgate has been playing. Luca Dean, alright, yeah, you say he's got more attacking potential, but Holgate's just got enough, chances of playing, and he's cheaper. You don't need the attacking potential too much, especially with the way Everton's set up under Rafa. So, yeah, I think Mason Holgate could be a decent strat, especially with, people like Coleman right now, who's got a little bit of an injury doubt. Michael Keane, maybe, but I think Holgate for his price, if you want to make a transfer, save some money elsewhere, for future transfers, Holgate is a nice cheap option. Now, looking at the keeps here for this game week 4, I think you've got to keep a little bit of, in the defence, Trent Alexander-Arnold. Now, I know a lot of people are selling Trent or selling perhaps even Salah to free up money for your likes of Lukaku and Ronaldo, but I just think Trent, at least keep him for the next few weeks because he's so good. Now, obviously, when the fixtures turn, do you want to keep Trent or Salah? It's probably going to be Salah to keep, but still, right now, he looks really good. And that Leeds fixture, he's got attack potential to do some damage. The other keep that I've got in this video for non-wildcarders is in the forward line, and it is going to be the man who's just been in form right now, and you can't deny it, Jamie Vardy. Now, a lot of people will be saying, why are you keeping him? It's got Man City. All right. Fair enough, that will be a tough game for Leicester, and I wouldn't want to own too many Leicester assets, but Vardy's record against Manchester City is very good, and actually after that they got Brighton, and they've also got a match-up with a good fixture as well in Game Week 6, so just wait on Vardy, let's see what happens, but of course his price is quite a lot. And then finally, the sells for this video, on the non-wildcard version, I think Brian Mbeumo, he's got to go for me because he's just not having enough chances, and even when he does, he looks quite wasteful. Brentford's fixtures aren't too bad, but then after Game Week 7, the fixtures kind of are a bit dodgy. Liverpool in Game Week 6 as well, I wouldn't go for it. And then finally, we've gone for our second sell to be none other than, I'm not going to say Son Heung-min because, okay, he could play, but there's still an injury doubt. I am going to go for, though, a little bit of Callum Wilson. And the reason for that, Newcastle's fixtures are pretty poor, and Callum Wilson is their main threat. Newcastle going forward aren't that attractive, and if he's out, Newcastle will struggle. Now, Manchester United's a tough fixture, and Wilson's got this injury that he's picked up, so I wouldn't risk it, I wouldn't go for it, and Callum Wilson for me is a sell. That is where we're going to end the video. Hope you have enjoyed. Smash a like on it, get your thoughts, and predict who is your buy, sell, keep, avoid for this week in FPL, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.